Hi, I'm Catherine Robert, and you are listening to Do Not Click.
Just like in the radio.
My news voice, is it?
Yeah, the news voice. Maybe in future when I'm more successful, you can work for me.
Oh, sure. Why not?
Okay, so you work at 1FM, right?
I do news presenting for 1FM, Kiss 92, basically the English music stations at SPH Radio. But I also produce 2 shows on our news station, Money FM.
1FM, is there any clash of rights with One Championship? Not that you know of.
No, not that I know of. No, I don't think so.
Maybe in future. Your job is at stake. I asked you earlier, is it Catherine Robert or is it Catherine Nicolette?
Well, my full name is Catherine Nicole Robert, but I go with Catherine Robert, as people do, right? Their first and last name. But my Instagram handle says Catherine Nicolette. Well, there's a story behind it. So my middle name is actually Nicole. It's not Nicolette. But Nicolette came about because my late uncle, he used to call me Nicolette instead of Nicole. So that's kind of a bit of a remembrance of him. So that's why I named myself on Instagram Nicolette.
What else will your family call you?
It depends. If my mom is angry, it will be Catherine. Or if she's feeling loving, it'll be Nick.
Nick, okay.
Yeah, but most of the time among my friends and family, it's Cat.
Is there a cute nickname between you and your dad?
No, he just calls me Cat or Darling, which is
Having
weird.
been called cat all your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like cats in general?
I do, but if I were given an option to own a cat, I don't think I would.
Okay.
I don't know. I
That's
don't
fair.
know. I
No,
just
that's
feel
fair.
like, yeah.
I'm not a cat enthusiast. Like, I'm indifferent about cats. So,
I think cats are a bit too temperamental for me.
yeah.
They got temper and all that, right?
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
throw tantrums and get angry and yeah.
Yeah, I know someone who has like 11 cats at home.
Yeah, and it's weird because my friends actually, among my really close friends, they all call me Kitty instead of cat, right? It's always Kitty, Kitty, Kitty. So yeah, it's very weird.
The reason I'm asking is that because people call you cat all your life. So I was wondering, do you feel that you have any connection between you and the animal?
No,
per se?
no, I don't think so. I think I have more of a connection with dogs, but
Okay.
yeah, cats, it depends. If they like me, then they really like me. But if they don't like me, they scratch me,
Your
they get
friend's cat.
angry. And yeah, my friend's cat.
Okay, so cat is not your spirit animal.
Nope.
What would be your spirit animal?
Ooh, my spirit animal. I have no idea. A stallion? I don't
Stallion,
know.
huh? That's nice. Stamina.
Which I don't have.
Do you run very fast?
No.
No, you don't. Okay.
No. It's just the attitude of a stallion. I think I would.
Okay. Ridwan said hi, the boxer.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yes.
You went to his boxing match
Yes, I did once.
at the ring, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
We went, I think it was a 1FM event, and we all actually turned up to support him for his fight. So,
Interesting.
yeah, that was fun.
I used to work in a boxing gym in Vanda.
Oh,
So Ridwan was from Vanda as well. Vanda has been around for 10 years. So
Okay.
he turned professional and he started his own gym.
yeah, he's doing a lot of fights. There's a
Yeah,
lot of ads on
so-
TV with him and all that.
It's very nice to see him expand and
Yeah,
become more
it's
famous.
very,
and
very
all that.
cool.
I really don't think he gets the credit he deserves. National athletes. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Okay, so with me, I have the gorgeous and vivacious Catherine Roberts. We are at the episode 41.
41, wow, well
Yeah,
done.
Officially on the road to episode 50.
Woohoo!
Yeah, a big milestone. Yeah, but anyway, so how's family?
Family's good. My family is not based here.
Mm.
My mom and my dad, my brother, my sister-in-law, and my nieces, they're all based in Perth, Australia. So
So you're Australian?
No, I'm Singaporean, but they moved to Perth at different points last. So all of them are there, and I'm the only one here because I refuse to make the move.
Yeah, you're born and bred in Singapore.
Born and bred in Singapore, grew up here. Although I did live in Australia for 6 years. I did college there and I did university there. And then once I was done with university, legit, on the last day of my uni exam, today was the exam, the next day I was on a flight back to Singapore.
Okay.
And I was like, I can't do Perth life is a bit too dead for me. I really want to go back to Singapore.
Really?
I want to
I
like
thought it's like roles reverse,
No,
like
not
Singaporeans want to
really.
go there.
Oh, well, okay. A lot of Singaporeans want to go there because of work-life balance.
Yeah.
The reason I wanted to come back was because I was bored. Like, if I was hungry at 9 o'clock, the only thing I could do was make Maggie at home. And
Yeah.
that wasn't like, at 9 o'clock here, if I'm hungry, I can go to the coffee shop downstairs. I can go to Simpang Bedok. I can go to different places.
Totally closed at night.
Yeah, the
Like
only thing that would be
7-Eleven?
open at that time, there's no 7-Eleven in Perth, actually. The only thing that would be open at that time is McDonald's, which is not great for your health.
Yeah.
But yeah, I a bit more of a lively environment, and I came back.
Okay. Are you mixed?
I am. My father is Indian and my mother is Eurasian.
Okay, that's
But
nice.
it's weird because in secondary school and in primary school and kindergarten, I did Mandarin as a second language.
Mm.
And then I learned Malay from the streets of Tampines.
Street Malay, like
Street Malay,
talking
yeah,
to your
yeah, yeah,
friends.
yeah.
Where do you grow up in Singapore? The north, south, east, west?
East, my whole life.
What do you do when you grow up?
When I was growing up, well, I was actually living in a very strict household. So my mother and father were very, very strict.
Okay,
I
conservative.
wasn't, yeah, and I wasn't allowed to like go out till I was, I would say 16, 17.
Conservative religiously or just
Just no,
general?
just as parents, they were very strict and they didn't, I don't know, I think they were very worried about me going out and whatnot. So I actually didn't go out on my own just to like the mall with friends, that kind of thing, till I was like 17. So
Okay.
I came from a very, very strict household. And then even after I turned 21, I think my mom was still like, where are you? What time are you coming home? You know, she was very strict. And I think till I was about 23, 24, then they kind of loosened the reins a bit and they were a bit more comfortable, I
At what
guess.
age were you allowed to travel solo? Have you traveled solo before?
I have traveled solo before. I think my first trip away with friends and without my parents would probably be in I can't even remember, 2014. Yeah, I think 2014, by which time I was 24 already.
Which makes you 28 this year.
Yes,
Okay.
I am 28. I just turned
I
28 last
don't
week.
mean to expose your age. I don't know how. I don't know
okay.
how restrictive of you.
No, I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I've accepted my age, 28, whatever.
It's not a bad age. It's a good age.
Yeah, but it's, approaching 30 and
What age would you rather be? Is there a preferred
yes,
age?
I would love to be 24 again
Okay.
and stay 24
Forever.
forever if I could.
But personality wise and experience wise, much older. But just don't age
No,
physically.
I think do I seem a bit more mature
No,
than
no,
my
no,
age?
no, you
Okay.
don't.
I think that's because I grew up with a brother that's 11 years older than me. So I'm
That's a huge age
yeah,
gap.
yeah. So I'm the baby in the family. I have two brothers. One is 11 years older and the other is 14 years older. So I guess
What have your parents been doing in between?
I don't know. Some people say I was a mistake, but I refuse to believe that,
No, no,
okay?
no.
I refuse to believe it. But yeah, so having brothers that are so much older, you were kind of forced to mature up faster. When I was growing up, my brother used to tell me like, grow up lah, stop being so childish, like yeah.
You still get bullied?
No, my brothers are actually very protective. They were never bullies. I was never bullied by my brothers, but they were very protective lah.
Okay.
So my friends and whatever didn't have an easy time growing up because of these two protective brothers that were always there.
I imagine you have a lot of nieces.
I have 3 nieces, one from my oldest brother who lives in the US and 2 from my second brother who lives in Perth.
Oh, you're all over the world.
Yep.
Spreading.
But 3
expanding over
girls,
the world.
3 nieces, no
Okay.
nephews.
But you don't get to see them as much as you want.
I do. I FaceTime my nieces in Perth every day, every evening at like 6:30. To the point where they're like, okay, bye, Auntie Kat. I don't feel like talking to you today. And I'm like, okay, bye-bye. But my niece in the US is a bit harder because of the time difference. So usually when she calls me, because she has a device to FaceTime.
She calls
on her,
you.
She does.
Okay.
She calls me, but she calls me at the oddest hours of the night at like 2 a.m. and I'm asleep. So
But do you pick up
we
though?
always miss each other because of the time difference. But we try.
Recently, my sister had a niece also. She's about 6 months now.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, a breath of fresh air because my family has been a family of 6 for a long time. So once we had the addition, it was, new babies. And now I also want a baby. No, but
Oh,
as
wow.
in, I saw how much change the baby had for the family, like
Yes.
it changed everyone. So
Yes.
yeah. Do you remember the first time you met your first niece?
The first time I met my first niece was 3 weeks after she was born.
You didn't get to see.
No, I
Oh.
wasn't there when she was born. I was actually, where was I? I was on holiday in Thailand with a bunch
Okay.
of friends. And then I got the call from my brother and be like, oh, okay, congratulations, Auntie Kat. And I was like, oh my God, so she gave birth. So I was very happy. But I only got to book a flight after that. And I only saw her 3 weeks after she was born. I went to Perth with a friend of mine. And yeah, that's when we saw her for the first time. You know how people, when they first see kids, they're very scared to like carry the child.
Yeah.
Nope. I was like in there grabbing. She was with
It takes
me
a
like all
while.
the time.
So before I was in the hospital with my sister on the first day.
Mm,
Prior to that, I had a lot of friends who had their babies as well. So I was there to welcome the kid. So
right.
when they're at the hospital, so their moms would be like, "Here, hold the baby." So I was like, "No,"
No,
because
you were like, no,
no,
I don't
I rather
want.
watch from a distance. I'm just afraid I would break it or something.
I think it's very weird because I'm the complete opposite, and it's not a woman thing because not all women feel that way. Like a lot of like the friend I went with to Perth when Sophie was my niece, the oldest one, Sophie was born. When she was like, no, I can't touch, I can't hold the baby, I can't do it. And I was like, just sit down, and I grabbed the baby and I put it on her, and she was like frozen, and I don't know. For me, it's just very different. I'll just go get in there, grab the baby, no problem.
For me, it's more of like, I don't know about the technique of holding the neck because the babies have fragile neck. So I'm afraid if I would not hold it properly, and then I would like leave a lasting injury to the baby.
No, I think
that was my concern.
Yeah, I think that's everyone's biggest concern. But I think growing up, when my cousins or my aunties used to have babies, that also my cousins that were younger than me, when they were born, I would like want to carry them so badly, and my mom would always be like, "Watch the neck, watch the neck, watch the neck." So I
Yeah.
think now it's become like ingrained in my brain, right?
Really
Like
hold the neck.
watch the neck. So that's the first
Yeah.
thing I make sure I have.
And
Like
it's
a good
pretty
grip
light.
of.
Like,
Yeah,
so it's
they
like,
are.
like 5 kg.
They are so light. It's actually quite scary.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
this is a human.
yeah, it's just human. It's so light, breathing thing. It's not like picking up a cat. Coming back full
No,
circle to the
yeah.
initial conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk more about you in your career. Let's go back to the very, very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you graduate from?
So I graduated from Edith Cowan University in Perth. I did a double major in marketing and management, but clearly did not use my degree whatsoever because when I came back, my first job was actually I did a 3-month internship with SPH doing marketing.
Okay.
Then my boss at the time said, like, why didn't you try writing? Because I think there was an event and I wrote a website for it, and he said, you should try writing. So I said, okay, I'll do it. I'll try writing, and then I got into the Thenewpaper. I spent the first 5.5 years working at Thenewpaper.
That's very long.
Journalism, yeah.
I haven't stayed for a job for 5
Actually,
years.
no lah, not 5 years lah. I think it will be 4 years, 4.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, in journalism, and then I went to radio. But when I was in journalism, it was great. Even though it was nothing I studied, I felt like I learned a lot because I was thrown in the deep end, and I was not. They don't hold your hand through it, right? They want you to learn on the job while you're at it. So you kind of just had to suck it up and do it, even though you were scared or like you didn't know what to do. You could ask for help, but they will not hold your hand through it. And I learned a lot. Would not change that experience for the world.
So all you need to have is a good command of English, and they
Yeah,
will
you
let
actually have to. No. You actually have to do a writing test.
Okay.
Yeah,
Basically, you could write very well.
I suppose. But if you,
My question is, why did your boss ask you to join journalism? Like, what did he see?
I guess he just saw that it wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't something that came too hard. Although newspaper reporting is very different, and it requires more than just having a good command of English. You need to be able to write as a newspaper report and
Tell
not.
a story.
Yeah, you can't just write it as this what happened, this is when it happened, and this is who it happened to, and da 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 da. You can't. It doesn't work that way. It has to always flow, and that flow thing is where your editors come in and teach you how to do it, and it's something that you will take some time to grasp. It's not so easy lah, huh?
Okay.
But eventually you get a hang of it, and while the stories that you submit will probably never be perfect because everybody can improve something, you get closer to it. You get closer to the product that you want to put out. So
But the process is after you write your article, somebody proofreads and
oh yeah, it
approves
goes
and
through
everything.
different levels of proofreading and before it comes out on the paper.
Okay, interesting.
yeah.
How was the first article that you wrote?
The first
Do you remember?
article that I wrote, yes, I do remember. The first story that I wrote was a story about a local band who I think is now disbanded. They were called Northbound. But yeah, that was the first story that I wrote because I was part of the entertainment desk. But then I went on to do different things after that. I did feature writing in the Sunday paper. I did sports predictions when it came to like EPL football and all that because I love football. Yeah, I did a lot of things at the newspaper. I did videos for them. I did video interviews and all
Is
that. Yeah.
TMP more known for their gossipy side? Because
We
I know that I'm not sure if it's newspaper. But I know Maya Lee used to work, but I'm not sure if it's newspaper. And then like she was the one who would pressure all the celebrities with their
we
questions and all that
take a very different, how should I
approach.
put it? Yeah. We take a very different angle because usually if there's an event, for example, and there are so many different publications there, chances are the story is going to be about the same. So if you want to differentiate your story from the other publications that are going to be there, then you got to take a different angle, right? So yeah, that's what they try and do. They try and take it from a different perspective, a different angle, something that it's different lah,
Okay.
alternative view. Yeah.
So doing journalism, how do you make a story more exciting?
Well, I think in journalism, the story gets more exciting the longer you do the interview. So if you talk to a person for long enough, you will find little bits and pieces of what makes this person tick. And that's the thing that you need to focus on when you do a story. For example, I did this story which I'm very proud of. It's the story about this young boy who we ended up calling in the story Abang. And this story is about this 12-year-old kid who had to,
Wait, a young boy you call Abang?
yeah, because he was the oldest child
Okay.
in his family. And the family, it was like a family of 6.
Oh, okay.
And because we can't name children under the age of 18, we called him Abang lah. We gave him like a nickname. We called him Abang because he was the oldest. And it was about him needing to step up and look after his siblings because his mom had a few health issues. And it was the story about him. So initially, the story was about his mother, who was going through a lot of difficulties in her life and health issues and whatnot. And she has 6 kids and she's a single mom. So the story was about her. But then when I looked around and I looked at this kid, he's helping his mother do every single thing in the house. It was a very, very touching story. And in the end, I completely changed the angle of the story and I said, look, this boy is doing above and beyond any 12-year-old I've ever seen in my life. We should write about him. It's no longer, the reason why he's like that is because of his mother. So we can explain that in the story.
You took away the
But
limelight from the mom.
yeah, but it was a story that eventually did so well. It got a lot of donations, and I eventually took the story one step further. So to end off my initial story of Abang, I asked him what his dream was, and he said it was to meet like the local footballing stars, right? And we were in a position as media, we were in a position to make that happen. So that was my follow-up story after that. Like we did this whole thing where we had to surprise him, went to his house, blindfolded him, put him in a car, took a video, brought him to the field, and all of them were there and they gave him like gifts, like, presents like boots,
Oh, that's so
footballs.
sweet.
Yeah, and that was a
That's very
story that
sweet.
really, really, till today I keep very, very close to my heart. And that's what kept me going in journalism. It was stories like that.
Does it help change someone's life?
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
And it's something that he would probably always remember. And that was good enough for me. Like seeing him smile on that day when I brought him to the field and I saw that just that big smile on his face, that was enough for me. And I was like, okay, this is why I do this. If it wasn't for this, I wouldn't have done it.
Just the gratifying
Yeah.
aspect of it.
Yeah. So
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
just having a sip of my
she's sipping a
Milo.
drink. Yeah. That's the rosy part of the job. So has there been any cases where you do a story of someone and maybe perhaps unintentionally take something out of context from the conversation and then perhaps the person was upset or how the story turned out?
Not so much for me, but yeah, I have heard of things that happen. It happens lah. It happens, but
Unintentionally.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you need the juicy, that's your job. You want the juicy
Yes.
details.
yeah. So I have heard about instances, but no, it has not happened to me.
Okay. To conclude from your job in the newspaper, what have you learned for the experience?
I think newspaper taught me that if you strive, with whatever job you do, especially in the media world lah, if you strive, you can make a difference, and it can be a positive difference. And you with this voice, right, this platform where a lot of people are reading your stuff, comes a lot of responsibility, and it's not easy, and you have to stick by whatever you put out with no regrets whatsoever. So yeah.
So as a journalist, you don't have to stay in your office all the time, right? You do go out and meet
Oh, we're
people
out
and
and
all
about all the time. But while we're out, we're also filing our stories on the go.
that. Do you like that part of the job where you go out of the office?
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. If someone stuck me to a desk from 9 to 5, I will faint. I
Yeah.
don't think I could do
Your
it.
brain will rot.
Yeah,
Right?
I don't think I could do a 9 to 5.
It explains how you lasted for 5.5 years
Yes.
or 4.
4.5 years, yeah.
After 4.5 years, do you feel like you've done as much as you can as a journalist, or do you feel like you have more to offer?
I mean, if I was asked to go back into journalism, it wouldn't be something I would say no to. I mean, it would always be a consideration. It's like a first love, right?
You miss it, but if you don't go back, it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, but if it was an option or if it was something I would want to do again, then yeah, for sure, But it was the change. The reason why I ended up leaving Newspaper was because I wanted a change in the kind of platform that I was going to be on.
You were spinning your wheels a little bit at work.
Yeah, and I decided that, maybe because I did a few videos for Newspaper as well, like when celebrities would come or whatever, and we wanted to have a different aspect, we would do videos, and I would do these videos, right, with all these people. And then after that, I started thinking about, maybe presenter would be fun. So that's why I decided to move on to a different platform.
Did you get starstruck when you did journalism?
No, that's the one thing that they do teach you is to remain calm. No matter who's coming, remain calm, and you have to always be professional. You cannot be like super starstruck.
I'm still working on that. Yesterday, I met the one person that I wanted to meet in my entire life. He's a wrestler that wrestles for a Japanese promotion. So he was here yesterday.
Oh, wow.
It will load.
Instagram's not working.
Yeah, but anyway, as it loads, okay, here it is. Yeah, so
okay.
Smiling from ear to ear.
Wow.
I don't smile often in pictures.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that's ear to ear. Is that ear to ear for you?
That's the biggest smile I can give.
Okay.
I'm not a smiler.
All right. Okay.
I was so nervous because he's a pretty famous guy.
Okay.
So as I was talking to him, he has a merchandise where you could see a fan of him from a mile away because there's a specific design. I was wearing the shirt, but I was wearing the jacket.
But cover it up, yeah, to act cool, is it?
Yeah. So, but anyway, as I was talking to him, more and more people wearing his merchandise started to crowd the area, and he was getting a bit nervous. So,
what's his name?
Kenny Omega.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. That's not his real name. That's his wrestler's name.
Where did you see him?
Where? Game start?
Okay.
He made a guest appearance, and I paid $70 just to see him. The $70 affords you the VIP for the game start event, which is yesterday and today. So 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, right? So I just bought that just to meet him yesterday, and after that I had to head to work.
Wow, then you deserve that photo with him lah. $70.
It's worth the $70. Shaking his
sure.
hand, talking to him. Wow, if I died tomorrow, I'll be happy. Yeah, but anyway.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, but when I was talking to him, there was a lot these jitters, I can't.
Yes, it happens.
It's the same feeling when I talked to Hosen Leong for some reason. At the time, Hosen was the biggest celebrity that I had so far. So
Right.
I had no experience in talking to people. Like this whole thing is just a project that I wanted to do to sink my teeth into, just to flex my creative muscles and all that.
Well, I think you're doing a good job.
So far.
Yeah.
Not because you're not famous. It's not because of that. It's more of because I'm trying to compose myself. I do have a method of doing this. I write down more. I'm still figuring out how to do it.
Yeah.
Like how to do this whole thing properly and much better for every
Well,
guest
it takes
experience.
practice,
Yeah,
so,
you're right. So
yeah.
what advice would you give, to compose yourself? So you've never been starstruck at all, like whoever you meet?
I mean, obviously you will be, but I've been pretty okay.
Professional.
No, I've been pretty okay in masking it and pretending like I'm actually, but inside I'm like jumping up and down or whatever. But I can mask it and I can be very calm and collected. And the first question that comes out might sound like but eventually I get it together. And by the second question, I'm good to go. And I think on the other side, for them, when they see someone like that, they understand. So they also do try, they're very nice actually. A lot of them do try to make you feel comfortable. But yeah, after some time, some practice, you get used to it. Yeah, you'll be okay.
Who was the celebrity that made you jittery on the inside?
Oh, wow.
Is it local or?
No lah. It would be when I first met Selena Gomez. Yeah. She kind of made me a bit nervous. Yeah, but she did kind of make me a bit nervous. Purely because she was making headlines at the time about the whole Justin Bieber thing.
I think she's the highest followed Instagram user.
Is she?
Yeah, I think she's like something crazy, like 60 million.
Or
I don't know.
None of the Kardashians?
Yeah. I think Kardashian is like number 10 or I don't know.
Wow.
This is something I Googled recently.
Oh, okay.
But I'm pretty sure Selena Gomez is the highest followed.
Okay. So yeah, her. I think at the time, because I was very nervous, also because I probably had to ask her a few iffy questions, you know, about her personal life, but I actually didn't do it in the end. I found it like, okay, no lah, I'm just not gonna go there. But yeah, meeting her was a little bit nerve-wracking.
So for your starstruck is not a more of a different gender. It's because you are in front of someone famous. Like for me, it was like that when I was with Jean, because Jean was like the guest that I wanted to do.
Jean is next level
Nah,
lah.
next
Jean is
level.
queen
Because
of
she's
local
like, you know,
radio, yo.
There's like an aura,
Yeah, of
when you're in
course.
front of her.
Yeah, most
Yeah,
definitely.
so for Jean, it's like a different kind of attraction because she's gorgeous and all that.
Yes.
But for Selena, because she's this very popular child star, is it her presence that made you nervous?
It was the presence, and it was
The bodyguard.
yeah, the environment that we were in. But she actually was very nice, and she made me very comfortable. And actually, we took a photo after that. And then she said like, so babe, what should we do? Should we let's do a kissy one? And then we both pouted our lips and we took a photo, and that was it. Like, you know, like the way she spoke to me was like as if she's known me for a while. Like, yo, babe, you know, what should we do? And I was like, oh, I don't know. We'll do whatever you want to do. But yeah, so she's actually very nice. It was just walking into that room was like, okay, calm down, relax. It's going to be fine.
I'm pretty sure she's maybe slightly nervous inside.
I mean, she was probably nervous about the type of questions should be asked. But, you know, whenever you ask your questions, you kind of got to, I don't know.
Yeah.
You just, yeah.
Shout out to Selena Gomez.
Woohoo!
So
Family.
before we start going into
If I had
1FM,
one word to
how was the
describe
work
it,
culture
it'd be
like
family.
in the newspaper?
Everybody would be there to help each other despite seniority. It didn't matter if someone was like a high-flying correspondent or, you know, a high-flying whatever they were lah. It was always about helping each other out. And as a young reporter coming into a newsroom, it was very intimidating. So I'm very, very appreciative of the people I had around me who helped me through every step of the way. So family would be the word.
Newspaper is in SPH building, right?
Yes, all the papers are there.
Do you see going to work as working for TNP or working for SPH?
Working for TMP. I guess it's the same thing, no? It is the same thing.
I don't know,
But
because you meet a lot of people who work there, but you don't necessarily communicate with.
yeah, so you're working with TMP then. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I work at NTU. It's the first time I'm working with a huge company that has, you know, a huge staff base.
Yeah.
Before that, I've always worked in like a company of 5 or 10 or whatever. So it was a big culture shock for me.
Oh, I mean, you get used to it lah for a while.
Now that I think about it, you've been in SPH all your life. Like
Yes, that's
your,
my first and only
yeah.
employer.
Can you survive out of SPH?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you
We'll
can.
see.
No,
We'll
it's
see.
it's your experience.
We'll see.
Would you have trouble leaving? Like given as somebody offering you a better deal?
Yeah, I think
Because you've been
I would.
attached.
Yeah, I think there would be some hard.
Some tears.
Yeah, there'll be some tears for
Some
sure.
tears shed.
But eventually, if I had to, I'm sure I will be okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your transition to 1FM.
To radio, yeah.
Radio. So it's totally a huge 360 change.
Yes, it was a big change from journalism to radio. It was not easy, but when I got there, I always reminded myself that this is what I wanted to do, right? This is the change that I wanted, and it was a good change. And I took it with an open mind. I did whatever it was that I needed to do. And when I finally got there, it was actually very fun. But behind the fun that goes out on air, I learned that it comes with a lot of hard work, you know? It's not just come kiki kaka and then that's it, like go home. No, it comes with a lot of hard work, a lot of planning, a lot goes into a particular show. So yeah, it was a good experience. And also when I first joined 1FM, it was with the breakfast show and it was with Glenn and the Flying Dutchman, who are two really, really big radio veterans, right? And very well respected people.
The Flying Dutchman is such a cool name, though.
Oh,
That's not his real name, right?
he's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, that's not his real name.
He's
no.
the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire guy, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No, that's not his real name, but they are the kind of people that were great, you know, great to work with. They taught you whatever they knew. They didn't really hold back.
And you know them prior to joining.
I did. I actually
1FM.
did know them. I knew Glenn and Jean from my days at Thenewpaper because I did stories with them a number of times, especially when they were going to get married. So I did that story as well. So yeah, so I knew them prior to, and we kept in touch as friends more so than reporter and, you know, a newsmaker. But yeah, so having that prior relationship made it easier, obviously, to integrate into the show and, you know, get used to it. But yeah, it was a great experience working on 1FM with the breakfast show. I did it for about 6 months before we won the frequency to open 2 new stations, and I moved to help produce 2 shows on Money FM.
What was the biggest pressure for your first day? What was your biggest worry starting out a new job?
My biggest worry was being there at 5 o'clock in the morning and making sure I had the energy of
That you're
like,
100%.
yeah, you know, you have to go there and be like, good morning. Da, 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 da. You have to like have that energy, right? But it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Let's not forget that it's 5 o'clock in the morning. So you have to. You have to just get it together no matter what time of the day it is. Once the mics are on, you are on and you should be there 100%. So, yeah.
Because for me, I see my job, not my job, what I do now, something very similar to radio. Because especially talking to guests, right? But that's not the only thing that you do, because you do like
News
put up music,
presenting.
news presenting and music and all that.
Yeah.
Essentially, I'm multitasking a bunch of stuff, like I'm monitoring audio and I'm talking to guests. So the most challenging thing is being in the zone, talking to you,
Yeah.
while at the back of my mind, like worrying about all this.
Yeah.
Every other thing. So
Yeah.
sometimes I feel that's the hindrance part of the job. And also it's a different environment. Like sometimes I don't usually have a safe environment like this. Sometimes I do it with a guest where I remember doing it with Maya Lee on the void deck, and then there was like a bunch of kids making a ruckus, and then I saw her like flare up and, hey, what are you scolding the kids, which I added at the beginning intro of the podcast. Yeah, that was very nice. But yeah, sometimes it's there's a lot of variables that helps me concentrate talking to the guests.
Yeah.
What would your advice be for me? Like having all these thoughts in my head, but my main priority would be connecting with you as a guest,
Right.
and getting in the zone.
Right. Okay. So, well, I guess the one thing that we cannot bypass or we can't get rid of is the fact that we have to multitask. That's what I learned. Because for me, standing behind the panel in a booth, in a radio booth, it is very intimidating. And there's so many buttons and there's so many levers that you're supposed to push up and down and all these kind of things. But you get used to the multitasking factor, and eventually you just have to
It's like
be
muscle
able,
memory, right?
yeah,
It's like muscle memory.
you have to get to a point where it becomes muscle memory, and after that you just have to, as much as you can, connect with the guest, because you at the end of the day, that's what comes through the speakers in people's cars and whatnot, right? It's that connection. It's not the levels or it's not whatever, but obviously you
The
cannot.
quality of the
Yeah,
content.
but obviously you can't compromise on the quality
Yeah.
of the audio as well. But you just gotta find a balance, I suppose.
Yeah. In hindsight, I shouldn't have done such huge guests through the beginning of this podcast, because starting out, I was still very raw.
It's okay. It's a way to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a way
Trial
to
by
learn.
fire.
So yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So one thing that is a big no-no for radio is radio silence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe there's a lot of other worries. But for you, having two other guys as partners in your job,
There was no radio silence. Don't worry. It
No.
was a very noisy show.
yeah, exactly. What was the next big challenging thing?
I mean, I wasn't behind the panel when we were on the breakfast show. We had a producer. Who did it for us. But
Okay.
so we were very, very privileged that way. But yeah, so when I moved on to Money FM and I had to produce shows, and when the presenters were not around, I had to take over and do it. So I was again thrown into the deep end to like, okay, go figure it out. Like, okay, this is what you press for the mic, this is what you do it, the rest you'll be able to handle. And you just had to just figure it out, and you just had to do it. You had to ask around until you got it. And then once you knew the different things to do, you had to make it muscle memory. Yeah.
Okay.
So you have to learn on the job really, really quickly. You're forced to, and you just get on with it and you do it lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When working with Glenn and Flying Dutchman, engaging in a banter with them to make the content interesting. Sometimes perhaps they might have said something on air that flustered you or something. Okay, winning an argument.
Right.
When you're talking about them, you're arguing with them.
Right.
Do you tend to get carried away because you want to win in an argument?
No,
Or
not
do you still
necessarily.
focus on, making the content very interesting?
No, so not necessarily. We don't. We don't turn it into an argument per se. When we banter on the show, we kind of just put our points across, and we either agree to disagree, or it just ends up becoming like completely humorous. But yeah, it doesn't turn into like a heated argument, nothing like that. It's very hard to turn
But
something
it'd be
into a
interesting.
heated
Yeah,
argument
but it's very
with
interesting
them.
to listen to an argument, It's very
I mean,
on air.
yeah, I mean it is, but a lot of us
They know about your boundaries.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do know our boundaries, and they constantly tell me this is how we usually do it, and we'll see how we can fit you in and stuff like that. So it was a lot of trial and error, but it worked, and I think we had chemistry, and I loved it. I didn't dislike a minute of working with them throughout the 6 months that I was with them. It was great. It's great fun.
Okay, walk me to how you prepare for each time you go on air.
Well,
You write down notes,
yes.
do a bit of research.
Yes, there's notes, there's research, there's coming up with content, and there are some days where you come up with content and a lot of it gets binned because at the end of the day we have to compile it together and get the best ones, right? So yes, there's a lot of notes, there's a lot of research, there's a lot of content, but none of them is done in vain, even though, you know, like you throw out this piece of, even though it's well researched and you've already got everything, you know, at your fingertips and you're ready to go, but it gets dropped. That's okay, because at the end of the day, you want the show to sound good. And if something else is going to sound better, you're more than happy to let it go. So it's a lot of research, but not all of it gets used.
Were there days where you come off the show where you are dissatisfied with your performance?
I
Maybe
wouldn't
sickness
say I wouldn't say dissatisfied, but I would say
could have been better.
yes, I would come out saying this could have been better, but I wouldn't keep it in. I would talk about it. I'll either talk to Glenn or I'll talk to FD and they will advise me on it. And I'll take that advice and I'll move on, because I think the most important thing about doing a daily show is to come back the next day with your head up and not be too worried about what happened yesterday, and to just keep moving forward. Because if you're going to constantly be concerned about what happened yesterday, it's going to come out through the microphones. You're not going to sound like you're there. So you just have to let it go, take their advice, move forward, and do it better the next time. So that's what I constantly did. Yeah.
What kind of advices have they given you? You can take longer sips if you want from your drink.
Advice. Oh, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
Advice. Wow. They gave me a lot. I don't even know where to begin. They're like Glenn's. Oh, they're going to kill me. Glenn's like an older brother, and FD is like a father. They gave me a lot throughout. And it was about everything.
Is it what to improve your character?
Everything.
Or your
it was like personal stuff. It was the show. It was everything. You know. Whenever they felt like, oh, you know, is something up, something okay, and I'm like, oh yeah, something's up, and I would talk to them about it. Immediately they would be there with a listening ear, and they're really good, and they're such gentlemen, and oh,
you do confide with them with your
of
personal
course,
life.
yeah, I do, of course. I mean, we had to have a close relationship off air. And we did lie, and it was good. It was great. I loved it. I could turn to them for anything.
You do a bit of emceeing on the side, right?
I do, but not very much. But I do, yeah.
Okay, so what occupies your time now? 1FM?
Not just 1FM. So now I do news presenting. So I'm not on the morning show anymore.
Mm.
I do news presenting for KISS 92 and 1FM 91.3. And I produce 2 shows on Money FM. Eventually, I do hope to go back onto a music station, but that will be in time to come. Yeah, so on the side, I do some hosting gigs, but most of the time, I'm actually a very boring person, you know. I'm not super out there, and it's actually quite bad. I should.
You mean you lacking social life?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say I'm lacking a social life. I just have a very small group of close friends. Yeah. And I spend a lot of time with them. If I'm not spending time with them, I'm just at home.
Psychologically looking at it, is that because of work, or is it because you are just closed off, or you build a wall around you?
No, I don't think I built a wall around me. I just feel like I already have
enough friends.
No, yeah, and it as it is, like, if with this bunch of close friends, I feel like sometimes it's very hard to keep up already. And, you know, to have more, I'll just probably get a headache lah. So
do you think it's an age thing?
Yes, for sure. I think I had a lot more friends when I was
younger. Right?
Yeah. But, you know, you end up knowing who is closest to you, who means the most to you, who you will need in your life, and you stick to them, and nothing else
I think everyone
matters.
can relate to this.
Yeah. For sure.
Shout out to friends.
Woohoo! Shout out to my girls.
Who are the popular friends that you hang out with?
All
Carla?
my friends are popular.
Oh, I feel like a peasant now.
No, they're just popular in my mind. Yeah, Carla, yeah.
Carla, okay.
Yeah, Carla's a good friend.
Do you find that being around with someone more ambitious, like Carla, who's obviously doing a lot of things with her life, career, and the relationship of being with someone who, you see someone who's passionate, you know, who wants to do something, like it inspires you as well? Do you find that there's a difference between being around different type of people?
No, I feel like
friends are friends.
Friends are my friends. My closest friends, they are my girls, and they will always be, no matter what they do. I think the one thing that I've always made sure is that no matter what, I'm proud of my friends' accomplishments and achievements and everything that they do. So no matter how much, you know, for example, you brought up Carla, and I'm very, very proud of her and all the things that she does and all the things that she's accomplishing now. It didn't come easy, yeah. So, you know, whatever she's doing now, she very, very much deserves it, and I couldn't be prouder of her.
Did she introduce you to emceeing, or were you already
No,
emceeing prior to that?
emceeing came with radio.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's something that
Even
they
actually
encourage.
it came before radio, but yeah.
We're talking about freelance emceeing.
Yeah.
Okay. So they
came-
encourage you to go out there and earn your money, extra cash.
People ask, you just do, if it's a small one, you just do it. But yeah.
Do you prefer being in front of an audience or away from the audience?
It depends on the show, I suppose. So yeah, it depends on what kind of show you're doing, and if it requires you to be on a stage, yeah, I'll be okay with doing that. If it doesn't require you and you just need to be off stage and whatever, I'm okay with doing that as well.
I'm pretty sure you've done a wide range of events, right? Like corporate to parties.
Yes, I've done corporate events, I've done other stuff as well. Yeah.
What do you enjoy most about the job? Is it being able to touch the audience and talk to them? Obviously, you can't do that on the radio, right?
Of course you can. You can
You can?
connect with your audience. Yeah.
On the radio.
Yeah. You
Like,
can.
on the phone? Like they do call?
I mean, you don't have to speak to each and every one of them to touch them with what you say. But yeah, we do chat with our callers when they did call in last time when I was on the breakfast show. A lot of them would tell us how they felt and, talk about the different things that we would talk about on air. So yeah, we do that.
Never thought of it that way. Like, it's actually doing this podcast. It's probably about the same thing. But I've never thought it in that way.
Yeah.
We live in a world where most people have this voracious hunger for attention, and on Instagram, having followers and all that.
Yeah.
And I know it helps your job because, the popular you are, you'll be more in demand for MC.
Yeah.
Being popular, some people equate it to being famous and all that. Do you feel like, as who you are as a radio host or as an MC, how important is having a lot of followers? Is that very important for you?
I have to say that I've been told many times that it is important for the job, and I'm not very good at it. I'm not very good at keeping up on Instagram. I'm not very good at posting.
It's a commitment, right?
It
Because-
is. And it's like having another job. And I really do salute people that can do it, because I feel like I'm very, very critical of myself as it is, right? So there are a lot of things, if I needed to post like a photo of myself or whatever, it's just, I will always find a fault with the photo, and I'll not like it, or I don't like the lighting, or I don't like this and I don't like that. And I imagine myself thinking like, okay, if I had to do this every day, or if I had to like post something all the time, I would go absolutely insane,
Yeah.
right? So I feel like I can't keep up with that. But there are so many people out there who can do it, and I think it's a talent, man, and it's it's not something that's just, oh yeah, like, I'll just do whatever. It really takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of energy. And I while I should be doing more, I don't necessarily do it. I constantly, every week it's a new thing. Like, I'll tell myself like, okay, like, I'll try, and then I'll do it like for an hour, and I feel like, wow, I can't keep up with that chase. So I've basically told myself, okay, I will work on what I need to work on behind the mics in the studios. I'll do what I need to do to brush myself up. Instagram will come later. And not everybody agrees with that formula, because we live in a day and age where
Everything you have to update.
exactly.
Yeah.
And Instagram is it, right? You need to
Instantaneous.
you need to put it out there. As an entertainer, you need to entertain on your social media platforms, and I totally get it. It's just that at this point in time, for me, I prioritize improving myself on air before I look to Instagram.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Do you equate taking a selfie as being vain?
No, I take a lot of selfies. I just don't post it.
How many selfies do you take until this is the right one?
I don't know, maybe 7? 7 would be a good number.
I honestly cannot do toilet selfies.
Toilet
No, I'm
selfies?
talking about mirror, like
Oh, mirror selfies.
mirror selfies.
Does it have to be in a toilet? Can be in a fitting room.
Okay,
Can be every
fair
like,
enough.
right? No,
Fair
not
enough.
toilet lah.
Take a long sip. Must be.
Hey man, don't be dissing my
you must
Milo.
be dehydrated from all this. Yeah, shout out to the Nathan Hatono. Oh no, it's Joseph Schooling now. Sorry, Nathan.
Malo. Woo.
Shout out to Joseph Schooling for being the sponsor of Milo. Sponsored. Okay, vain and mirror selfies.
No, I don't think of it as vain at all. I think, hey, if it looks good, it looks good, man. Post it, flaunt it. If you got it, flaunt it.
I really find my Instagram account, my personal one at least, to be the most boring Instagram account. So whenever I do podcast, I don't expect. I have no qualms about followers and all that.
Right.
Which is why I do this podcast. It's not the fariqqin show. It's just I do it to promote a brand. I want my podcast to be popular because
Yeah.
I want people to listen to it.
Yeah.
I owe
But you
that-
have a lot of followers on your Do Not Click
It's alright, but
Instagram.
it doesn't necessarily translate to listeners. But also, some listeners who listen to my podcast don't follow my social media account because they don't own a social media account.
Right.
What was the point to get to that? Okay, sorry. So I have this clash of I have no desire to be famous,
Right.
and yet I have to tell myself to be that person that promotes this podcast.
Okay.
The good thing about this podcast is that, which is why I do it, like people don't have to see me. Like this is not a video interview. Talking on air and talking on video is totally different thing. There's a different pressure. Like you are not more conscious of yourself on camera and all that, and you can be whatever you want, like sipping an ice Milo on the microphone. So I like that aspect of the job.
Yep.
So coming back for you, branding yourself as a MC and performer is an obligation that you have to do, but jobs first, right?
Yeah. The main job first for me always.
So you are not into like the millennials where you have to post a picture a
Well,
day.
I can't even say I'm trying to be, but I will eventually try and incorporate that into my work life. But it is hard lah. It is hard because I'm actually a very chilled stay at home.
Are you private? person?
Yeah, I'm a very, very private person and
Fair
I don't
enough.
share a lot of things to a lot of people. So I maintain that level of privacy and it's very hard to find that balance. Until I do, I think it will remain this way, but eventually I will have to do something a bit more than what I'm doing now.
Eventually, okay, maybe not eventually. If you do ever reach Selena Gomez Instagram standard,
Yeah, no,
Where
I
they'll be
don't
like-
think so lah.
do you think it's gonna be mentally draining for you?
It must be. It must be.
It's a different experience altogether, right? You post a picture, maybe 30% of it will be haters, will be ugly,
Yeah.
your hair.
Maybe that's why a part of me doesn't want to do it because
You're
I
not ready
can't-
to go through.
Yeah, I'm probably not ready to go through that because as it is, I would say I take criticism very well, but I take it too hard, right? When I
Yeah.
get criticism, I want to make sure I improve on that and I improve on that drastically. Okay, that's the kind of person I am. I strive to be a perfectionist.
And it's also separating the noise and feedbacks. Like it's very hard to not.
It's very hard
because we're all
because-
human beings, right?
Yeah, and yeah, we are all human beings, and as much as they like haters can be haters,
Yeah.
you can say that,
There are
yes.
days
But at the
where-
end of the day, if you go back and you lie in your bed and you think about it, and that comes to mind, who's gonna stop you from thinking about it? No, nothing can stop you. It's just there, right? Yeah, you can try and control your thoughts and just push it away as white noise. But at the end of the day, for me, I know that it will probably affect me. So that's why I try and stay private. Maybe one day I'll come out of it and be like, you know what? I can separate the noise now. Then I'll be a bit more open to sharing different parts of my life. But as of now, I think,
Yeah. I think a lot of people now also look at it as a business.
yes.
They get free stuff,
And
sponsored stuff.
it is a business in itself. And I salute the people that can do it. It's great lah. But
Okay.
for me, probably not yet.
All right. As we ride off to the sunset with this podcast,
Right
gonna
after the
wind down.
sunset. Woo!
yeah, we're at the tail end. This is the one question which I gave you the opportunity to prepare.
Did I? Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Go for gold.
Was there any moment in your childhood, or do you have a memory that you think were precursors to what? Because your job entails like being in the spotlight of an audience, be it a journalist or on air or an MC radio. Was there any part of your childhood that pointed the direction of having this desire of being in the spotlight?
No. I have to say, as a kid in primary school, I was bullied. Right? Yeah, I was.
Who?
I was
Call them out
bullied.
now.
Oh, I remember her name. I will never forget
Wait,
it.
it's a
but
her. Okay.
It's a her. It's a her. It was a girl. I was bullied. And it's funny that you asked me this question because my dad just came back for a holiday to Singapore for 2 weeks. And I was just talking to him yesterday and he said, I asked him if no, actually one of my friends was there and she asked him like, oh, what was Kat like as a kid? And he said, oh, when she was younger, she was very, very timid. It was only when she got older.
Wait, who was your dad?
One of my friends that was
Okay,
with me.
okay.
And then it was only as she got older that she started becoming a bit more brave and rebellious. And I was like, no, I was not a rebellious kid. But yeah, so it's funny that you asked me that because I was a very timid child. I would steer away not only from the spotlight, I would steer away from, doing all sorts of things. And I was bullied and blah, blah, blah. But eventually, I guess, in secondary school, shout out to the girls at Katong Convent. I think it was my days at Katong Convent that gave me a lot of confidence and a lot of being able to hold myself. Yeah, it was secondary school onwards lah. But primary school, I was a completely different child. I did not do anything remotely in the spotlight.
I've listened to podcasts where people like Dave Batista, he mentioned that he was timid as a child. So I know maybe you guys are the people that rose up to that occasion.
Yeah, rise
Own
up to
your
the
timidness.
Yes, and then after that, snap out of it, snap out of this.
Yeah. I actually forgot to ask you this question. Do you hate listening to yourself?
Yes.
Like do you hate your voice?
I don't hate it, but when I, for example, when my news comes on and when I hear it, right, I am very critical. Like I don't go like, hey, oh my God, that's me. I don't do that, but I just go into serious mode and I'm just focusing on what I'm saying, and I will analyze each and every single word to the point where I was like, I said that wrongly, or damn it, that came out wrong, or like, so I do it.
Very
I
hard on
focus.
yourself.
Yeah, I focus to self-criticize. Yeah, because it's that curse lah, the curse of the strive to
you
be
can't do anything
perfection.
about it. Your voice is already
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, but yeah, I do.
Okay. All right. Lesser known facts about you.
Lesser known facts. Oh, I don't know.
If there's one thing that you want people to know more about you, what would it be? Like you wish that people would know this more about you. Maybe you like a Milo, or
I am not as bitchy as I look. That is the one thing I would really, because I've heard many times from my friends, they're like, Kitty, you have a really, really bad resting bitch face. And I was like, what's that mean? It's like, you just look very unapproachable. And I was like, but I'm so nice. And they were like, yeah, but you don't look it, So if there's one thing I would like everybody to know is I'm so much more friendly than I look. So if you ever want to have a chat, do come on down and have a chat with me. I'm really nice.
You're so nice to
Right.
take your time and do this podcast with me.
Right.
Yeah.
I also think I'm so nice.
Yeah.
Well, not a lot of people think I'm nice, but whatever. Who
Milo,
cares?
please sponsor her.
I love Milo, by the way. Milo, please sponsor me.
She got the Milo face. No, as in she has a good face to be put on as the face of Milo.
Yes, classic. I love Milo. I don't drink coffee. I don't drink tea. The only thing that I drink is Milo.
Is that something that your mom feeds you as a child? I know that Milo.
Yes.
When I was growing up, every month my mom would buy tins and tins of Milo.
Yeah. No, it was something that I grew up with.
It's
but
a staple.
No, but a lot of people snap out of it and they go to coffee or they go to tea, right?
Yeah.
I never did at all. And until today, I do not drink tea at all, and I do not drink coffee at all. Zero.
Okay,
the only thing that I drink is Milo.
What do you drink when you go to Starbucks?
Iced chocolate.
Okay.
They have the iced
Hot
chocolate.
chocolate,
Yeah.
yeah.
No. The iced chocolate.
Frappuccino.
No, there's an iced chocolate option with either whipped cream or without. I usually get it
Oh,
without.
the one with the ice.
Yes,
Iced chocolate. Okay,
yes,
okay,
the
got it.
iced chocolate
Gotcha.
option.
Yeah.
The only non-coffee option
Okay.
there is at Starbucks. Yeah. Okay, I do have very, very rarely, but I do have hazelnut latte once in a while.
Okay.
But very rarely. Most of the time it's chocolate. I just don't do coffee
So
at all.
if you need to be awake when you are sleepy at night, what
Red Bull gives you wings.
Red Bulls.
Yeah.
Okay. Or Monster Energy drink or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever's available.
Yep.
Finally, is there any memorable advice that you had that you want to share with the audience?
The one thing that comes to mind would be something that Glenn and FD both told me. And I think it's in relation to being in the media industry. And that is to never lose yourself. Do not, when the mics come on, be somebody else. Don't be somebody else. Don't be some...
There was an Eminem reference where
don't lose yourself in the music. Yes.
Sorry.
Okay. But yeah, don't be somebody else. Always be yourself. Do not lose, everything that you value, everything that you are. Don't lose it when the mic comes on. Stay true to yourself. And that's something that I will take, I think, for the rest of my life. That makes a lot of sense because I do sometimes forget, and when the mic comes on, I sometimes I get influenced to be something else, which I shouldn't, and I should never do that. And
I absolutely love that because when I speak, I can't help my Singlishness because that's how I grew up speaking. Speaking in Singlish.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times when I look at the presentation of other people who are doing the same thing as me, they slang it up,
Yeah.
like, hey, what's up, this is, like whoever. Like I look at myself like, should I still be talking in English? But that's what I'm comfortable with. Like,
Yeah.
but I try not to because I do want to promote good English, but
Yes.
sometimes I can't help how I speak.
Yeah.
Even if it grammatically doesn't make sense or whatever. Finally, message to your listeners who's listening.
To my listeners,
Where can they find you on IG or?
Well, you can find me on Instagram at Catherine Nicolette.
Which is not her real name.
It's not my real name, although Nicole is my real name. Catherine Nicolette. It's very long for me to spell, but CATHERINE NICOLETTE. If you ever see me out on the streets or whatever you want to say hi, just say hi. I'm really nice.
Do not let her resting bitch face.
Do not let my RBF throw you off.
Yeah.
I'm actually really nice.
She might be holding a Milo on her hand.
Yes, then you confirm that that's me.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how you
it's
confirm
the
it's
ice
her.
Milo.
All right. Thank you so much for coming all the way.
Thanks
and
for having me.
Yeah, spending a sliver of your free time to do this podcast.
Most welcome. I'll do it anytime.
How does it feel to get interviewed for a change, rather than
Interviewing
being
people?
the one interviewing people?
Nah, it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Ciao, guys.
Cool. Bye.